subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so for that reason, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he explains that this ayah in Surah Al-Fatiha, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path, that this is from the greatest and the most amazing of supplications if a servant was to reflect upon this supplication. And in fact, Ibn al-Qayyim has some beautiful words in his book, Madarij al-Salikin, right at the beginning of this book in the first volume. He says, he asks the question, someone asks the question, if we are already guided, if we are already Muslim, if we are already worshipping Allah, if we are already obeying Allah, then how and why is it that we need to ask Him in every rak'ah of the prayer? Why do we ask Him, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim? And so Ibn al-Qayyim, he gives a beautiful answer. And the answer is along the following lines. He says, first of all, if every single one of us brings to mind the knowledge which he has of Islam and the Sunnah, and he compares it to the knowledge which he doesn't have, so how much does he actually have, first of all? So practice this to yourself in your mind now. Ask yourself, what is the sum total of knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah and Islam in general, and the prohibitions and the commandments? How much of that knowledge do I actually have? Okay. Now, if a person is honest to himself, he will say, maybe I know a percentage, a fraction of everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed. So straight away, you've missed. So let's say, for argument's sake, a person says he knows 5%. Let's say, just for argument's sake. So straight away, 95% of knowledge has gone. And from that, all of the action upon that knowledge as well. So he's left with 5%. From this 5%, the next question he asks himself now is, from that 5% which I actually do know and I do understand, how much of it is there in my heart? Is there an irada in my heart to want to act upon it? Okay, because not everything we know do we act upon. And not everything do we know do we have the irada to act upon. So now, if you now ask yourself the next question, how much of what I know do I have the desire to act upon? Okay, now if you're sincere to yourself, you answer the question in your own mind. How much have I, compared to what I know in my head, how much of it do I desire, have the irada, is the impulse in me to act upon that? And if you're sincere to yourself, you will then have another fraction. So we've already lost 95% of the 100%. Now we're left with 5%. From that 5%, you will then say, if you're sincere to yourself, that maybe, let's say, Abdullah, Zaid, Amr, whoever, he says, well, I'm being sincere, I only have irada to act upon 20% of what I know, or 10% of what I know. So now we have 10% of the 5%, meaning just to have the irada, Now we say that from that which is left, from the 5% and the 10% of that which is 0.5% now, how much do I have the qudra, the ability to act upon? The ability to act upon, meaning I have the means to actually act upon it. Okay, so now we take another percentage off. Then we go back and we say, how much of it do I actually have the sincerity, ikhlas? Because ikhlas is yet another component of being guided. So when a person looks at it in this way, he realizes how utterly misguided he is, and then he understands the statement of the Messenger of Allah in the Hadith Qudsi, كُلُّكُمْ دَالٍ إِلَّا مَنْ حَدَيْتُ. All of you is misguided, إِلَّا مَنْ حَدَيْتُهُ. That all of you is misguided, except the one whom I guide. So ask me for guidance, and then I will guide you. And so this dua, this supplication, when we say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, this is from the greatest of supplications a person can make. And in fact, Shaykh Rabi' bin Hadi, hafidhahullah ta'ala,